how would you go about setting the tone for a romance comic? Like, how would you show it's going to be a romance at the start? Ooh, that is a good question.
So,
Oh, Ursula's got an answer. Ursula's the writer today.
it.
Ursula is a romance reader, so
I
she
do.
definitely knows this a lot more than me.
I read many romance. It's hard because not all romances, like, they don't always center.
There are a lot of subgenres to
Yeah.
romance, and you have to know which one you're writing in,
Yes.
first and foremost. Because some romances are going to be a lot more sultry,
Yes.
others are going to be a lot more cutesy. And the way that you would probably want to introduce... How would you introduce it? Like, you want to have, like, your tone be present. If it's going to be a cutesy romance, you're going to want to show some cutesiness. You're going to want to hint at there being a want for love, or the opposite. Your character starts in the story and they're like, I'm not interested in dating anyone, because that clues people in that they need to date someone.
Yes.
Because if they're not into it, they're like, never. You know, if they're being all tsundere, that also cues in romance readers who are like, okay, I see what's happening here. Like, tonally, it just depends on what kind of romance you want to write. I write horror romance, so I have a very interesting tone that I set up.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, you just gotta hint that a romance is going to occur.
Totally. And a lot of romances will start, because you don't necessarily need to start your first scene like you have your meet cute with your two characters who are going to fall
Oh yeah,
in
definitely
love.
not the first scene,
Like,
anyways.
You want to set up like your main character and like what their deal is and introduce the story and stuff. But like a lot of romances will start with like a character's just gone through a breakup, or a character is thinking about like, oh, my sister got married and like everyone's asking when I'm gonna get married. Like, the plots will usually involve romance without...
Oh my god, it's like Warm Face.
Yes. Totally, where it's the romance where she's angry because she's making a wedding cake.
That's not even really a romance, though. I mean, it is a romance. Like, her plot is a romance.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, Warm Face would be such a good romance. I love Frankie and Sally.
It's so good. Bones, write this.
Frankie is my boy.
But yeah,
I know the main plot of that is interesting, but sorry, I'm off the... Continue answering the question.
Anyways, you can bring in romantic elements without you starting off with the main characters like meeting and having romantic chemistry. That is a way to clue in, though, is if your characters meet for the first time and they're giving each other like bedroom eyes or whatever, or like, you know, they look at them and like, oh man, he's cute or whatever.
Could a main character's parents be pushing him to get married be a good first scene? Yeah. I think that would be a good first scene. I think one, like, yeah, like, that's a really good first scene. Like, you'd probably want to set a nice backdrop for it, because otherwise it's going to be a sort of, like, boring scene. But, yeah, like, just add some layers to it and it'd be really interesting. I don't know what I mean by that. Like, I guess it depends on, like, if he's into getting married or not. You know, like, if he's not into it, like, he could be trying to, like, accomplish something else while his parents are bothering him. And he's like, I'm busy. You know, like,
yeah.
I don't know. It depends.
Totally. Don't want to put words in your mouth.
Please meet with this matchmaker person's son.
He's like, Mom, I'm trying to finish college here.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a good
whatever it is
starter for a romance, I think.
Totally.
How does one horror romance? Oh, we're gonna horror and romance. Asking for a friend. Okay, for me, my horror romances, romance is usually like the secondary plot to my main plot. Horror is such a big genre, But basically, you set a romance thing going on with characters. You know, they meet and they like each other, but also everything is terrible and horror is occurring around them. You know, it's just you add a backdrop of horror to it.
They can trauma bond together.
Yeah, they can trauma bond together, and you know, you can always add a not happy ending to it as well. That's like a good way to make horror happen, because horror tends to be a tragedy.
Yeah.
It's one of the few genres that is popular and still can viably be a tragedy. I think sometimes, yeah, like there's not a lot of tragedies that aren't horrors today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's indie stuff or whatever.
Yeah, but of the main genre.
Yeah. I love tragedy, because tragedy is where you write the reverse of a story of like the like tragedies where you write the reverse of the 3-act structure almost, where they like try to obtain their goal, and like they continually succeed at failing until the end where they fail, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they have their like tragic flaw, and it undoes them.
Yes.
Instead of overcoming it, because usually they start in a good place with a tragedy where they're good, they have their tragic flaw, but then they're like they keep running up against it and failing more and more, as opposed to the other one where they okay.
Yeah, where they run up against their flaw and learn from it.
Yeah, because they always they go to the end and they like super like succeed. Like they have a low point, which is their high point almost, where they're doing like amazing, and then because they haven't overcome their flaw, they fail.
Huh.
Yeah, and it ends in tragedy. Anyways, what's going on?
The main character is a thief, so I could have him actively stealing something while talking to his mom on the phone. Oh,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
It's like, I'm kind of busy, Mom.
Yeah, you want to set up that it's a romance and set up your character. Like, that's the
Yes.
two things you want to do.
That's a really cute intro.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Their character flaw is their downfall. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, exactly. I'm just thinking about Hamlet and how indecisive that boy is.
So indecisive.
God, relate to Hamlet too
Kind of
much.
scared with you talking about a horror tragedy while working on Magpie.
Everything goes fine in
It's
Magpie.
fine.
Okay, listen, it's all good.
100%. Really good.
I mean, some horrors don't end in tragedy.
Oh, yeah.
I can't think of any, because I've only watched one horror, and it was Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
And that one ends in tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like they win, but then they ultimately lose in that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Macbeth, yes. Oh my God, Macbeth, that loser,
I'm
so
trying to think of
paranoid.
Horror with happy endings.
Well, not even happy endings, non-tragic endings.
Sorry, non-tragic endings. You're right. Because usually, yeah, it ends with.
Because like Madoka Magica's a tragedy,
Yeah.
even though it kind of has a happy ending.
Hmm.
I don't know. War movies are good and tragic. That's true.
Yep.
Things based on real life are allowed to be tragic. I heard somewhere that Hamlet and Othello traded places. Both plays would end in one act. Oh my God.